Hello and welcome to another episode of MOPO where we discuss matters of personal opinion. Today we're going to be looking at Preacher episode 8.
Season 1.
As always, I'm at the scientist here with at Dave Roach 83. So yeah, let's get started. We didn't start where I thought we were going to start.
No, for one of the rare times in the season so far, it didn't really pick up where it left off. I mean,
or at least this half of the season. It seems like the second half has been more of the continuational episodes.
Yeah, it's almost you could just watch it and you wouldn't miss a beat. But
we start in, it looks like the Swiss Alps or something. That's the feeling I got. It seemed very hoity-toity, rich people going skiing.
I wouldn't necessarily think just Swiss. I would probably think this was in America somewhere.
Well, yeah. That's what first came to my mind.
I'm thinking this a snowy scene family, which winds up being a Quincannon, and it looks like a good amount of Quincannons are on this, they're on a ski lift. Yeah,
they're on an enclosed ski lift that holds 15 people, 20 people. Now,
maybe it's holding too many people there.
Yeah, because they really don't explain. We haven't even mentioned what's about to happen, but yeah, they don't at all explain why or how. And for me, my first thought was, before they even showed you who was inside, and that they were all dressed up like skiers, and they were all happy and go-lucky, I honestly thought this was going to be some sort of covert, scientific, government-owned ski lift transporting a group of scientists, because the weather is way too rough.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's the middle of a blizzard. And they got this ski lift in the middle of nowhere, it looks like.
You're not going to be out skiing in this weather.
There's no way.
But they're all dressed for
You're not
skiing.
even going outside in this weather.
Yeah, but yet these people are on... And you know what it does make... It makes sense in the sense that, rich people, they do whatever the fuck they want.
They do whatever
You're not going
want.
to tell me what to do. And it's only good enough for 10 people. Well, we got 15. We're all going together.
I mean, that's speculation, but pretty much.
Right. So basically, when they start talking, and one guy's, all right, Quincannon family photo.
Yeah. And it's whoa, wait a second.
And you kind of hear this other lady talk about, Odin couldn't come because, this, that, and the other. He probably just didn't want to fucking come.
Yeah, he was just I want to listen to cows get killed. Well, though, he probably wasn't like that then. But who knows? He might have still had that obsession. Because he's already off the rocker a little bit.
Probably just more obsessed with work and, making sure the work gets done and, let's make this money.
Yeah, because they definitely have money.
What essentially the picture they're painting here is, this is the entire Quincannon
legacy
family here, because there's old people there too, older than Odin.
Yeah, and there's definitely younger
people there too. So this is the family reunion type deal, and all these people. Then all of a sudden, these wires snap, and
down goes the spider in the web.
Damn. And they kind of go back to a couple episodes ago, where Preacher goes to Quincannon, wakes Jessie up in the middle of the night, and they go to Quincannon's. I told you, this kid walks by this office.
And we never see it until now.
And he looks in and his eyes go like this. So we get to what happened there. And Quincannon basically calls Preacher up. Preacher's dad, the real Preacher. No, not real Preacher, but, Jessie's dad, the Preacher. And so you got to come over here. Something terrible has happened.
Meanwhile, while he's waiting for Jessie's father, Preacher, to show up, he's sitting at his desk, and there's crates, which can only assume each one represents body.
Because they're not square crates. These are long casket size cases.
Yeah, long casket size cases. And then as it's panning out...
all throughout his office.
And then all of a sudden, just randomly, a cow.
There's a cow just standing there.
Just standing there chilling, just eating whatever, and you're just like, what the hell? And then it just jumps immediately to when Jessie's father is there, and he's just there is no God. There's only the meat. There is no God. There's only meat. It's like he's like, if you, tell me one thing I've been pondering about all day. It's like, which one is my daughter and which one is the cow? And then it like pans out, and he's got one of the crates busted open, and there's all this blood everywhere, and the cow's ripped open, intestines hanging out, and he's just holding 2 sets of intestines, and he's like, it's all the same. It's all meat. We are all meat. And he's like, dude, because he worships the meat god, because that's all we are. It's just meat. He's like, there's no soul. There's no soul.
I think that's the reason he starts worshiping the meat god, because he really, went clicked crazy in his head, and his whole family died. He ripped open people's bodies, and they're like, and ripped open the cow's body, and he's like, it's all meat. It's only meat.
And it's all stemming from this whole, if there was a God, why would he let this happen and stuff? Why would he kill my entire family? But it's like, the answer's simple. Your family killed themselves by deciding to go on a ski trip in the middle of a blizzard.
I think he's more like, where's her spirit at? I don't see no spirit.
Wouldn't the spirit have escaped immediately upon death?
I mean, when you're crazy as hell,
that's like digging through the trash. That's like digging through the trash can, going, "Where's all the trash? This is a trash can. There's supposed to be trash here." It's like, yeah, dude, they just picked it up like 3 hours ago. You're an asshole. Like, of course, there's not going to be any trash here.
He's grieving, so whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm not
Denial.
I'm not going to sit here and justify dude man's actions.
I don't know. It just seems pretty outlandish for no good reason. Like he's got mental issues beforehand.
Pretty drawing.
But yeah, so we kind of just jump right to workers trying to take the church, and it's like a half-assed assembly at this point. Like, it's still very primitive.
Well, when
they run in with guns and stuff, but then they get their ass kicked.
But it's workers from fucking, it'd be like, you got the owner of the Acme up the street, and he goes nuts, and he wants to go do something. He gets all of his employees together, and it's like, go get them.
Yeah,
right? It's the same thing. Like, they're not trained.
Well, they're looking at it as, like, it's 10 of us. There's one of him. We can take this guy. And they run in with guns and stuff, and Preacher beats the shit out of them, and they all come out.
It's implied, because we don't get to see this.
Well, yeah, but
we kind of see it through the window panes of the church.
Well, that's a little bit later. Like, this is when they just go in and they just get their ass kicked.
Yeah, that's it. And the gunshots go off, and you kind of, you see like.
Oh yeah, that's true. And it looks like it's lightning.
Yeah, like through the colored glass or whatever.
I actually like that. I see
how
like symbolic. It was the Noah stained glass depicting lightning, the gun flashes.
And he basically roughed these dudes up, disarmed them, and sent them on out their way.
Yeah, and Donnie's like, "What did he say to you?"
Yeah, because Donnie, he's mentally broken.
Out of it. He knows
he's mentally broken. He just assumes Preacher. Preacher had to tell them to do something.
Yeah, there's no way he won. And they come out like, Preacher didn't say shit to us.
He
just beat us up.
This big burly motherfucker.
But yeah, so like it kind of just jumps to Preacher in the church, kind of like after. He's sitting next to a pile of guns he just recently acquired from the workers, and he's just trashed drunk. And he's just all remorseful, and he's like praying to God.
He's begging God.
He's like, bring him back. Bring Eugene back.
I won't use my powers
just bring him back. And
that shows, how Jesse is truly a good dude. He is remorseful beyond remorse. That if he could just get Eugene back, he'd be fine, and he wouldn't fuck around no more or whatever. And whatever, because most people, I don't know most people, but you can kind of see somebody being, kid's gone. I still got this power now.
Yeah, people would be like that. They wouldn't even care.
They wouldn't be thinking about getting them back.
They would have stopped as soon as they justified it to themselves, like he did in the last episode, where he's like, you know what he did to that girl?
Right.
But yeah, and then he hears like a noise. And he pulls up some floorboards and he starts digging into the ground.
Well, the floorboards were already gone. He starts digging into the ground.
Oh, that's right, because he was digging in the ground earlier.
Yeah, and it's funny because they go back to the episode or two ago. He's screaming down, and he's breaking up the baseboard and saying, "Come back!"
Yeah,
using his voice or whatever, the power, and that's how
And then here comes Eugene.
Yeah, he basically busts Eugene out the ground, and Eugene kind of uses that. He's like, oh, you used your power to... I heard your voice.
Well, yeah, that's first he's it was weird because Eugene comes up and right off the bat he's spitting some secret knowledge about hell to Preacher, where he's like, oh, are you real? I don't know what's real anymore. They play tricks on you. Okay, that sounds like somebody who was in hell or whatever. They play tricks on you. He's like, and then he's like, well, how'd you get out? He's like, oh, you used your voice thing. I heard you call to me.
I heard you call to me. I just started digging up.
Yeah, and Preacher's like, you just dug up, and he's just like, it's not as far as you think. Which, okay, I'll even give him that.
Yeah, because plane of existence, it's not...
Well, excuse me,
distance.
Eugene. What the fuck are you talking about his voice thingy? Well, what are you talking about? You do not get it. Unless
it was never told you, or unless maybe...
Unless he's talking about when he told her to forgive him, and, Eugene's not as stupid as you think he is.
You know what, he probably does know about the power.
Because right there,
he knows Preacher's making people do stuff. And he knows it's not right. And
that is true, because that's why he gets sent down in the first place. Because I'm thinking, yo... that doesn't add up. But okay, so we got some reasonability here. We got some logical.
But I'm just gonna put it out there now because we find out minutes later. But from the jump, I had suspicion.
Yeah, it seemed too easy. It seemed too easy.
Jesse's drunk as shit, up for days probably at this point. He's trying to defend his, church or whatever. I don't trust this.
Yeah, not at all. And then so they're talking, and then we jump to Emily waking up, and her kids, the mayor's out with her kids in the front room, and they're like, oh, I want cereal and this and that, and he's like, oh no, I don't know if that milk's still good, and he kind of holds it off, and then Emily just starts reaming into him I don't want you here, you don't need to be here.
No, you don't need to be here. I don't need you to do everything for me.
Okay. I get. Yeah, it was more like that, but he kind of drops it on her oh, I'm surprised you're here and not at the church. And she's like, well, what do you mean? It's oh, well, they're bulldozing the church today. Quincannon is oh, it was a verbal agreement. And she goes, it was a bet. And he's like, it was a verbal agreement.
Yeah, because we know Quincannon has this dude around his fingers.
Oh, and even if not, he's scared shitless about what might happen to him if he crosses him. He watched the guy murder 5 people.
Well, obviously, but I think Quincannon really has him believing that this is the means to an end. He's the mayor of this town, and the town is struggling, and Quincannon can help save the town.
I think he's the only one with a plan, and the mayor is grasping onto it with all dear life. And not saying it's a good plan.
Because the mayor knows that he's struggling with this. What's the right thing to do? He knows it's not exactly right, but ultimately...
I also don't think the mayor should have been mayor. It sounds like one of those guys who gets voted in because he had some good game to talk, but has no clue what he's doing.
It's either him or a 90-year-old mayor who's about to die, who's been the mayor for the last 40 years.
Yeah, so this guy's young enough, he'll figure it out.
Yeah, because he doesn't really seem qualified for the job.
No, he follows people. It'll be somebody not even in a government position, and he'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. It's what, dude, what? No, they're not right. Even if they were right, you should at least be contesting it a little bit with some counter logic. You're just a puppet. Whose hands up your ass today?
Right. So, just gonna go more into detail of their relationship, where she uses him and he lets her use.
And he's all oh, I washed your shoes. They're by the window. And she's like, you washed my shoes, you weirdo?
Yeah, basically.
Who does that?
And it's funny because, at the beginning of the scene, these kids probably see this dude as, the only dad they got right about now. And she
walks all over him.
But, they're like, hey, can you, oh, I need cereal. He's like, oh, let me check this milk first. And he smells it, he's like, oh, boy, or whatever. And then, like, she's kind of all iffy with him, and, like, he's just like, here, take the milk then. Like,
well, yeah, because she yells at him, like, oh, well, do you want to ride to the church? And she's like, no, I don't need you to do everything, like you were saying. And then she's like, just take the kids to school. And he's like, okay. And then the kid's just staring at him like, so is the milk all right? And he's just like, yeah, whatever, drink the milk. And, all right, now this milk looks fine coming out. Like, we're watching it, and it looks like nothing's wrong with it. But the sound effects make it sound like it was the lumpiest, chunkiest milk that ever existed. Like, blah, 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 blah,
it's pretty gross sounding.
Like runny, lumpy shits.
So, like, you just let that kid fucking eat sour milk.
And then just casually later on, oh, you need some milk. You're out of milk.
Yeah.
Like, gets her a little bit later in the episode. But,
well, he gets her in the episode a little bit later, too. And, you know, we'll get to that, though.
But, Donnie's dressed like he's in the Civil War. And now they're doing, like, their second charge on the church. But now the preacher has all these guns, so he's sitting up in the clock tower, the bell tower, and he's just, like, raining off warning shots, like shooting this guy's weapon out of his hand, shooting this guy's hat off, like shooting this guy's machete out of his hand, and it goes into the shoulder of somebody else.
And that looks like a gnarly cut, too, like his down and in.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad.
He's not using that arm for a little while.
So they all retreat, and they're like, oh, he not only can he fight, but he can shoot, too. And this, like, before this, Quincannon is basically giving these guys the layout, like, oh, I'm put, like, a rec area here. I'm gonna put a cafeteria here. Hyping these guys up with the dumbest look forward tos. And this one guy just won't give up after they all retreat, and he just starts running in with his little musket one-shot looking thing.
He's got a bayonet on that.
Yeah, he's got a bayonet on it though, and he's just like, cafeteria, cafeteria, cafeteria. And you just hear one shot rain out, and then he's just slowly walking back. Dude, it takes this guy forever to walk back.
Right, and they spend a lot of time watching him, you know, camera time. A good, I feel like 15, 20 seconds of us just watching this dude walk back.
And they're like, you okay?
Because they all run away, and Kickouts call them bitches and shit. And then, hold on, where's
Clive?
Yeah, Clive. And you see this dude walking
back. And he's like
back,
holding something.
And
like, first his hands are all bloody up against his chest.
They're cheering him, and then as he's getting closer, stop cheering. He's like, Preacher shot my dick off.
He's totally calm, too.
It was a good shot.
He had to have been in shot. Yeah. Clean off. Look at it. This, I can't believe it. That's just amazing. It had to have been shocked because you see him later and he's like screaming bloody murder.
Yeah. Because
the adrenaline wore off.
At that point, Sheriff rolls up, right?
Well, let me see. The sheriff
rolls up because we missed this. Preacher calls up Sheriff. Because he thinks he really has Eugene, but what winds up happening is Jesse's drunk and delusional and just wants this kid to be back so bad. He imagines.
Well, the thing is, when he picked up the phone to call the sheriff, Eugene says, no, not yet. And he starts asking for all these glasses of water, which he later realizes aren't actually being drank.
Right, Jesse sees
the glass that was empty. Yeah.
So that he got to know something, but
I didn't think he ever made the phone call.
No, he made that phone call.
I didn't think he ever made it.
Sheriff comes and is like, well, Quincannon, Preacher says he got my boy.
Yeah.
So let's cool this out. And Quincanon's all right. Get me a sandwich. Get Clyde an ambulance. He's probably gonna need one. We're gonna be here for a little while.
And they ask him what he wants, and he says oh, I want the angels. Well, it sounds like he says Asians, because Odin Quincannon's Asians.
No, I think he says angels, but they're not thinking that. He's Asians.
Well, yeah, because he's Asians. What's he saying? Asians. Who are the Asians?
But the sheriff is I know who he's talking about.
Which blows my mind, because I don't think they've ever mentioned
that
to the sheriff that they're angels.
They're
government workers, yeah.
But Sheriff ain't that stupid. I think Sheriff don't know for a fact who he thinks.
But he knows who they're the only other outsiders in town.
They're the outsiders, basically.
But yeah, that threw me off a little bit. I was kind of like, what? But yeah.
No, and I They get the ambulance there. Everybody's got a picnic going or whatever.
Yeah,
and
now everybody's family has showed up.
They get caught into the ambulance, and the girl's like, "Oh, here's your dick," or whatever. Toss it right on his midsection.
Yeah, like right on his lap, where he's missing his dick.
I think at that point, is that where good old boy goes and see him walk over to his car?
Well, no. That's when the angels show up.
Oh, that's right.
Because they try singing it out of him again. Because and Preacher's okay with it now. He's
Preacher's
like, "Yo, I fucked up.
Yeah, like
you need
Preacher's
to get Eugene out of hell,
yeah.
and you can take the voice back.
He
you can
makes
take
a
back
deal.
Genesis
He makes a
because
deal with him.
this isn't working out."
If you can,
Well, first off, he goes, we, and they're like, "What do you mean we? Who else have you told?" He's like, "Well," and he looks at Eugene, who doesn't actually exist, and he's like, "Oh, well, I mean me."
he's like, no, he's like, "Can you get anybody out of hell?" And they do it all season. One says yes, one says no. Or whatever. One's always telling the truth, one's always lying. And from there he said, "Okay, well, if you can help us, right?" And he's like, "Who us?" or whatever. And Eugene's all like, "Oh, you're the only crazy one."
Yeah.
Or whatever. They make that deal. Okay, you get the boy out of hell, and you can have the Genesis back.
And they later go, "Oh, well, there was never actually any deal made," but they end up singing out Genesis, and it actually works. And pretty effortlessly, in fact.
Yeah, I mean,
it just kind of pops right out. They close the can, and they're done.
It's like, music soothes the beast or whatever. Like,
oh, but before they did lay him down and start doing the whole the music and stuff, and no, they said, he kept going, he's reluctant. He's still a little reluctant to give it up. He's like, "No, what happened to all the other people it chose?" And it's like, "Oh, they all blew up." And it's like, "Well, why didn't I blow up? It chose me."
He is the whole time still trying to convince these guys, like,
that
hey,
he's a chosen one.
like this,
which
I'm supposed to have it, and he is supposed to have it.
And
I mean, we know this
yeah.
and all, but like they don't know, and they don't care about that, because even when he's like that, even the angel that says the truth is like,
"Yeah, but what have you done with it?" Like that's when Preacher's like, "Oh damn," he's like, "I really haven't done anything with this other than bad." He hasn't exploded, but he hasn't exactly done any good. But yeah, so it just pops out of him, and then out of nowhere, oh no, because like while this is happening, it goes to Donnie, and Quincannon is talking about how it's like, "All right, all y'all with those blunt weapons, like your machetes and your knives and your hammers and your batons,
these guys again.
Yeah, you're going to walk in. You're going to be first infantry,
because
and everybody with guns is going to walk behind you."
He doesn't want them running away again, like they did, like it appears they've been doing to him, because he's not in there seeing what's going on. And Donnie, just like, we know this dude has been like crazy and torn up in the head since almost the jump. And he starts walking over his car.
Well, before he walks over to his car, it's like Quincannon talks about how they're human shields. And it's like, "Now y'all gonna die."
Yeah, he's letting them know.
But so it's like, and then it's kind of like, it seems like it hits Donnie a little hard, like reality.
I think that dude is shell shot for the jump, and Quincannon could have been talking all that nonsense about happy stuff.
And it wouldn't have mattered.
Still wouldn't, because he has this idea that clicks in his mind. And he walks over, and he puts his head in his trunk, brings his revolver,
and all you hear is bang!
And he like puts his revolver in the trunk, and hear bang.
That's crazy too.
So then,
then it jumps right back to
the battle scene, right?
Well, no, it goes right back in, and the song works.
Right.
And then like
they get
he gets mad about the fact that they won't get Eugene out of hell.
Well, yeah, because they try to screw him over.
Yeah, and then as Preacher's getting all agitated and uppity, the can starts shaking and it explodes. Like the canister is broken, it's destroyed, and Genesis jumps back into him.
Yep.
And the angels pack everything up, and they're like, "All right, well, we're gonna have to try something else."
Plan B.
Yeah, and it's kind of like,
Plan B.
This whole time we're like, I kind of figured now we're finally going to get into the Saint of Killers,
right?
Which I don't understand why they would need him if all they had to do is kill Preacher.
Because obviously they can't.
Well, I don't think they've been trying as hard as they could have.
But they're also angels. It's not their job to kill people.
All right, fair enough.
So they bounce out, and then it goes to
Then it cuts. It's like now it's like nighttime.
yeah. And, okay.
People are just like watching with excitement of this
well,
church.
most people, not everybody.
Dude, there were like a few
isn't.
smiles and stuff, and this church is just getting shot up.
So then the mayor and Emily are talking again. That's when he's really like breaking it down for him. She's like, "This can't be legal." He's like, "No, it's not legal." And honestly, it's not even about what's legal anymore. It's about what's best for the town. And he brings up her kids. The schools are failing. Oh, there's 40 kids in the class. They're going to be 60 next year.
Yeah.
You know, I'm exaggerating the numbers, he said. But, you know, he's just sitting there trying to explain to her, we all got to make sacrifices. And, you know, if this is something we got to do to help out the town, then we got to help out the town.
Yeah, then we might have to look into this for helping out the town. Yeah, and then it's just right back into them shooting the church up, and preacher's still drinking a ton of booze while he's shooting back out the window, and out of nowhere here comes fucking Donnie, and I'm like, dude's not dead, and he just shows up and he just got the gun pointed, and preacher's like, put the gun down, using the voice and everything, put the gun down, drop the gun,
and he Donnie's like, you can see this change in him. Like, oh, I got you now, boy.
Yeah, and he does he almost does it like out of spite, like snarkingly, like, oh, what was that? What'd you say? And you see his ear all bleeding out because he blew his eardrums out.
No.
And dude, it was so funny because he's like, oh, what, preacher? Can't hear you. What's that? Oh, put my gun down? And that's not happening.
Right.
And he just pistol whips the living shit out of him, and he just wakes up, and he's in front of Quincannon, and he's got like, I guess, legal paperwork in front of him, you know, like the deed to the church or the land, and he's signing it, and you know he's talking about like the meat god, and well, Quincannon's talking about the meat god and shit, and you know, preachers
like halfway through Jessie signing it, I think he gets this idea. Like, Quincannon's talking this bullshit, and Quincannon actually gives him an idea.
Well, because he says, "Oh God, why should I worship a quiet God that never says anything?" Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then that's when preacher's like,
"Hold on, boy, I got you.
Give me one more sermon. I keep trying to bring the people to God, but y'all too far gone. I'm gonna bring God to the town. I'm gonna bring God to this church." And we're going to demand answers from him. And then if he don't tell us what we like, then we'll denounce him. You know, we'll denounce that bastard, he said. and it seems like they might give him that one extra day, or that one extra sermon.
Oh, and he is. He's going to give him that sermon. Because he wants Jessie to denounce God. But that don't mean he ain't going to jail for murdering Eugene. So that's why he still gets taken away by the sheriff.
Yeah, he gets taken away by the sheriff. And this is how far gone this town is. This entire time, these people watched as the preacher alone fought off all these men with guns trying to tear down and take the church. Right? And as he's being carted away by the police, everybody in the crowd is screaming, "Oh, help us, preacher! Oh, we need you, preacher! You need to help us! Help me with this! Help me with that!" Not a single one of them is like, "Oh, we'll get you out of prison, preacher! Oh, don't worry, we got you, preacher!"
Nobody was like, "Hey, Quincannon, maybe you shouldn't be doing," except for Emily. Emily's the only one, but she wasn't too loud.
Yeah, everybody else was just, "Oh, well, we enjoyed the fireworks, preacher. You going to be back next Sunday to help us? Because we don't understand what's going on because we're too stupid to like get it through our thick skull." They think they're going to show up 2 weeks from now and there's still going to be a church. They're doofus.
Yeah, if this is reality, that church is gone.
Yeah, and then like it just kind of jumps to this big control panel flashing danger. And all these
sirens,
siren, and for half a second, I thought it was the sheriff, but it ends up just being like some old. You see the guy from behind. It ends up just being some old dude, and he's twisting some knobs and he's pushing some buttons, and
you see this meter go down.
The meter goes down, and it's like there's a pressure release button that he pushes, which is making me think that's what these vents are.
Yeah.
They've been seeing so when he hits pressure release, that's releasing the methane. I guess, because you had mentioned that the town's powered on methane gas from the slaughterhouse.
And I mentioned episodes ago, like, that we've been seeing
those things go off, like almost like it's bubbling to a boiling point, or bubbling up to a boiling point.
That's the nature of that type of power.
Oh no, it's normal. But I'm saying
have to do.
symbolically, because whenever they showed it, it was like at a turning point where it's like this is messed up. That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
Like kind of foreshadowing.
There's definitely like the foreshadowing.
We as readers know what happens to this town, which still hasn't happened to this town, and has got to happen to this town for me to hold any weight in what's going on. And I can only assume it's going to be, instead of what it was supposed to be about, it's going to be a result of the methane gas buildup. Maybe that dude falls asleep on the job for too long.
And in the book, it's not the town. I don't.
Well, it's the church.
It's
the church.
But it's everybody in the town.
But it's everybody. Exactly, it's everybody in the town. And it's just a ghost town. I mean, unless you're Tulip's stepdad and just drunk on the couch or something. But I don't. He doesn't even exist in the book.
No.
So yeah, the whole town's gone. But so I think the methane plant is going to somehow be involved in that. Now, Dave knows, but he's not going to tell us.
Yeah, I didn't say shit.
He ain't saying shit. He said, oh yeah, you know what happens with that town, man? Yo, that's Nunya. Oh yeah, so what's up with Nunya? Nunya business. Right. And then I'm sitting here like, well, that's pretty harsh, so I guess I gotta tune into episode 9.
Right, 2 more episodes.
So, I mean, tell us, what do you think? Is that what you thought you were going to see Quincannon doing behind that door? It's definitely not at all what I thought was going to be happening when I saw...
Did you have any idea of what you thought it was?
I had an idea. I thought it was going to be that conglomeration that he creates. I thought it was going to be that scene. Okay. I thought it was going to be that scene, which it didn't make sense, because that did happen in like book 5 or something like that.
Yeah,
book 6, much later. But I mean, it just means there's going to be more to look out for with Quincannon, because he's almost a supervillain now. He's got the superpower of what is the effects of the voice on him. I feel that essentially pushed him into supervillain status, because he's not driven by his own urges alone. He's now driven by his own urges and the fact that the voice is giving him
compounded by the voice being like, because he
gives him the freedom to follow it unremorsefully.
Without fear of
consequence.
Yeah, consequence, because like, he took that word the complete wrong way. And
like follow God, and he was like, "Oh, I'll follow my God."
Right, I'll follow God, all right.
Yeah,
no doubt. And he's a nut.
Yeah. So, was that what you thought you were going to see? Do you think the Quincannon family should have been on that ski slope in a blizzard?
Yeah, did they die by their own
stupidity, or was it because God is a horrible person?
Right. Is God horrible, or are they stupid as shit?
What else do you think is going on? What do you think about Mayor's answer to Emily about just letting all this happen to the church?
It's a real
my God!
situation.
We almost left off without telling you about this. We didn't even make mention of it. The entire time it keeps cutting to Tulip going through the process of adopting an animal, a dog, and she ends up getting like this big bloodhound. This big basset hound, and she's playing with it. She's taking it on walks. She's feeding it. She's playing ball with it. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together until she sits down with it, and she hugs it real tight, and she's like, go to hell, Jessie, or I hate you, Jessie, or screw you, Jessie, something very derogatory towards Jessie, like this is his fault. And she lets the dog. At first, I'm like, is she letting the dog outside, or is she taking the dog with her? And then it turns out she let the dog into a room, and then you hear monstrous noises. The dog whimpering and crying.
Yeah, but they had the taste to not have the dog back. That would have been unsettling.
It still was not a good scene, and that's when you realize, holy crap! This entire time, Cassidy. We didn't touch on Cassidy once, and Tulip is blaming Jessie for the state that Cassidy's in, assumingly, but more so what immediately I thought, the fact that she's putting Tulip through this, having to adopt an animal, like a loving animal, and then feed it to a monster because I can only assume, didn't put him out with the fire extinguisher. We still don't know what the hell happened.
We don't know what happened there.
He literally could have walked away, and then Cassidy somehow dragged himself out. Or when Tulip left, she came across Cassidy, because obviously that's what happened. After Tulip left, she had to
I'm gonna
come across
say
him.
What I feel. Maybe jumping ahead a little.
He's going to say what he feels based on what he already saw, because he already watched the episode. So not so much MOPO as much as it is facto.
But I think Jessie let him burn for a good while, but had it like a change of heart.
Kind of like he did with Eugene?
Yeah, not really. Eugene is fucked. I think he...
What happened
with Eugene, this remorse. I don't want this, that, like what happened with Eugene happen to you or whatever. And I think he did kind of put him out. But I think...
Put him out or just, drag him out of the...
I'm thinking...
Put him out, drag him out of the sun. Yeah.
And he did not...
you're a charcoal briquette, but you're a charcoal briquette in the shade. Don't be here in 3 hours because the sun moves this way.
You'll recover kind of deal or whatever.
He hopes. He obviously made no effort to make sure he recuperated. You realize?
I think... But
he's still dealing with the whole Eugene thing.
But I think it's more of a Cassidy thing. Maybe Cassidy's going through this plenty of times, so he thinks he has a friend... and they're not really his friend, and maybe people let him burn longer than what
we're assuming Preacher left him?
Yeah, left him.
So it's like, you let me burn, but you know what? You at least put me out.
But you put me out.
And a lot of other people didn't. Yeah, I mean, I guess there is, because he has been around for a while, so even if it wasn't that same kind of situation, similar situations
where
like
he's
that.
Been fucked over by people
where he's vetting out friends.
Or maybe he's fucked over friends before Cassidy.
And he's kind of just punishing himself there.
We like Cassidy and all, but he's not an innocent dude. He's not
Oh, he's not innocent at all.
He's not an angel or whatever. You see these angels hitting him so good. So, there's a lot about Cassidy we don't know yet. That would probably paint a little bit of a darker picture. I know if Jessie ever found out those two fucked, it's gonna be a problem.
He definitely wasn't being put out. But so we can only imagine the monstrosity that is behind this door that is what Cassidy was. Or that was what Cassidy is. He's a pile of goop, is what I'm guessing, and somehow still has teeth.
And he'll recover.
And he's going to recover.
Well, I gotta imagine if you can
fall out of a plane,
30,000 feet or whatever, and you're
basically liquefied, minus your top half somehow.
as long as you got them teeth, I guess he's all right.
Yeah, as long as blood enters his mouth area. Somehow it do you think if he's just a pile of mess, you could just pour blood on him and the cells would kind of grab the blood like the Thing in John Carpenter and just kind of regenerate?
Maybe.
It just absorbs through the pores. But I don't know. Tell us what you think on that, because that's all speculation on my part. Not so much his part, but I mean, there's opinion there. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you for episode 9.
Yeah, it's all MOPO.